Welcome to the Daily Agenda. It's interesting why Tommy Robinson has suddenly called for a revolution. What type of revolution is Tommy thinking of? Perhaps the thumbnail pick, and I don't often change my thumbnail picks like British Lander, and I don't often change the titles either. And I don't have a fit of panic when people catch me with my pants down either, because people don't catch me with my pants down. And I don't lie about it on social media either. It's a centre-right trait. It's not just the uni party, the establishment, it's a centre-right trait. This is going to be very painful for the centre-right to watch. Deliberately so, and I'm glad. I intend to make it as painful as possible. So, if you can endure the pain, it will be worse than toothache. Carry on watching. So, what is this revolution little Robin Sob is talking about? Well, it's interesting, isn't it, how over the last 3 weeks, Robin Sob has been pumped and promoted massively all over social media like never before by vested interests. And you can trace the funding behind nearly all of those channels back to billionaires. I suggest you go away and do it for me. Or for yourselves, because I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to do it for yourselves. I know laziness is another centre-right trait. You need to get out of that lazy trait and start doing some real investigative work. First rule of journalism: use your initiative. Speaking of pumped and promoted, overrated, bloated channels, Tusi TV, which is part of the thumbnail, Tommy's Revolution. That flag Tusi's holding is absolutely despicable. It is a gross and deep offensive insult to all British people, and as far as I'm concerned, it puts him right up at the top of the list with Narinder Kaur for remigration. Okay? Now you know exactly where I stand on these centre-right con artists and fakes. And another reason why I'd get rid of Tusi, remove him from this country, is because I believe he's a Mossad agent, a paid Mossad agent. And anyone who dares to question that, no problem at all. Go and have a look at all of his anti-Iranian, pro-Mossad, pro-Israeli, pro-Zionist claptrap. And you'll find that most of it is just fiction, fantasy, blown out of all proportion to reality. But that's what he's paid to do, isn't it? And of course, he's one of Tommy's biggest fanboys. And he's built up a large following by worshipping at the altar of the false prophet Robin Sob. And so Robin Sob appeared on yet another Zionist Jewish channel, Trigganometry. Before we go any further, talking of fakery and lies and dishonesty, go and check out Konstantin Kissim. Yes, his fairy tale about how he had to come and live here in Britain from Boruski land. Yeah? It just doesn't add up at all. It just doesn't hold weight. Go and do the research for yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. People are far too lazy. Go and do that research. You'll find it. It's very easy to find. I found it quite easily. I'm not doing it for you, okay? Don't start posting comments saying, can you give me a link to this, a link to that. I am not going to do anything of the sort. You find it for yourselves or don't bother. That's my attitude, okay? Think of me like an editor in the editor room, okay? And the editorial is, get off your lazy arse and do it for yourself. So go and find out what Konstantin Kissim's real background is. It's very revealing. So anyway, Trigganometry, which was also very revealing. Oh, absolutely. The lie fest, for want of a better description, was hugely entertaining. And so Tommy, of course, went to his usual litany of, oh, I was a poor little working class lad in it, bruv, brought up on a scruffy estate, things were odd, the Muslims were all around us, and, things were really bad in it. Of course, they are in every shithole city in this country, and they've been made shitholes by mass immigration and the diversity delusion, which is so precious to Tommy. And if you don't think it isn't precious to him, I suggest you go and watch that Trigonometry crap, because it is damning, revealing, very revealing and damning, because Tommy is totally and utterly in love with diversity. And one of the things that comes out frequently is he prefers the company of non-whites. Interesting. I wonder if those WhatsApp messages are going to emerge anytime soon. That was sent to the security team, crowd security team last year, just before the October rally, telling them to hire more black security because Tommy was always being accused of racism. They didn't really want more black security, but they had to have them because of diversity, innit, bruv? See, it's all bullshit. It's all just a facade for morons, quite frankly. And then, of course, you've got the pipe grease boy, Paul Thorpe, saying, we've got more diversity here than the left, innit, bruv nagav? Which brings us on to the diversity rant made by Tommy on trigonometry. Trigonometry, yes. I'm certainly going to trigger some people tonight with this one. So anyway, he has a little rant about the National Front. Now, we've heard this fairy tale before, in fact. So he said he was in a pub in Luton after he's formed his fledgling group, which was first named the English and Jewish Defence League, then rebranded English Defence League, controlled by Jews and funded by them, that is. Hence the reason why it was called English and Jewish Defence League in the first instance. Yes? Let's not overlook that minor little fact, shall we? And so anyhow, yes. And someone said, oh, this guy's just come in and in it, Gav, and there's 30 National Front getting off the train right now, and they're going to come and support us, innit, bruv? That's right. I'm using this accent because Tommy's fake accent is just that, it's fake. Now, when I worked in Bedford and Luton many years ago, no one spoke like that. But, you know, there's this trend now to try and imitate the London accent because they've watched all these bullshit films about London gangsters, innit, bruv, and they thinks it makes them look odd. You know what I mean, Gavda? And that's what part of what Tommy does. I mean, it's prevalent all over the south coast, southeast coast of England, you know. Lots of people use this fake London accent, and that's what Tommy's got, his fake London accent, innit, bruv? Innit, fam? You may as well call it innit, fam, because we're getting into innit, fam territory right now. And so Tommy said, yeah, right, okay, right, we're going to go and smash their faces in. Oh, we're going to go and smash their faces in? Really? The advocation of violence, just like Ricky Jones. Let's cut their throats and get rid of them. Is there a difference? I don't see a difference at all, in actual fact. They're all Nazi fascists, innit, Bravna? Yes, very interesting. And this is what Tommy said. Yeah, they're all Nazis, innit, and fascists. Well, a Nazi is not a fascist and vice versa, and one cannot be a Nazi and a fascist at the same time. But this is lost on Tommy. I mean, I covered this in the review of Douglas Murray's book, Manifesto, which carried the moniker of Tommy Robinson, just to flog it, basically, so they could all make some wonga out of it. It's lightweight entertainment, quite frankly. It's very interesting, but ultimately it's lightweight entertainment because there's no manifesto in it. There's no manifesto for change. And that's the whole point with Rob and Sob and his crew, isn't it? They never tell you how to change anything, just everything that's wrong and then grift off it. So anyway, this is another sob story because Tommy loves narcissism. Tommy is a grandiose narcissist, okay? Especially when he's on the cocaine, innit, Gavda? And so anyway, yes. So the first time I heard this story, they went along and smashed the faces of these National Front people in. Nobody in the National Front's ever heard of it. There's no video footage, no photographs, nothing. Nobody's ever recorded it. No complaint to the police, no arrests either, because it never happened. So now he's changed the story on trigonometry to, oh, we just chased him out of town, innit, bruvna. And of course the two little Jews sat opposite him, sat there nodding, approving of their little goy boy. Not soy boy, goy boy, as in goyim, dumb cattle, okay? Goy boy. Yes, they sat there looking approvingly at their little goy boy, and I'm sure Ezra of the Levant over in Canada, the biggest grifter in Canada, nothing but a crook and an incurable liar, sat there approving of his little goy boy as well, performing exactly to the script that's been written for him, because Tommy Robinson is not a British nationalist at all. He's never been a nationalist, never will be, and in fact he hates nationalism, and in particular he hates ethno-nationalism, although he's paid to ape and imitate it so as to suck away its support and bring it under control in the safety valve operation. I can hear all the morons right now, the centre-right morons. Oh, you can't say this about Tommy. He's a legend, he's a hero, isn't he, bruv? Is he? Not to me. He's lower than the piece of dirt on my shoes. And that's the truth. So anyway, yes, and then he went on into another rant about the BNP, another lie. Yes, he joined the BNP, but it was only for a year, innit? Because the BNP membership is a year long, and I didn't renew it after that, and the records prove it. What records? What records? And of course he relied on Searchlight magazine, so he's not really opposed to the left, is he, as such, because he relies on their garbage when it suits him, just as he rants the lexicon of the far left against nationalists when it suits him, because Tommy isn't really right-wing at all, is he? He's a centre-left flag group guy leading a bunch of morons down a garden path. So anyway, yes, we ordered the BNP not to operate anywhere in Bedfordshire. Really? Yes, well, I know for a fact that didn't happen. It did threaten them, in actual fact, and what happened was the southwest branches went over to Bedfordshire to pay them a visit, and that was the end of that, and the BNP continued operating all over Bedfordshire, and Rob and Sob and his little arseholes couldn't do anything about it because they were just criminals. That's all they were just a bunch of criminals. Black and white criminals. Black and white unite. Do you know whose mantra that was, black and white unite? It was the Anti-Nazi League, which was a cover operation for the Socialist Workers' Party. Okay? The Anti-Nazi League is the Socialist Workers' Party. Their mantra was black and white unite. And that was also the mantra of the English Defence League. And so, another very, very interesting conspiraloon theory, and I'm sure the cocaine is obviously rotting the grey matter, because the more he uses it, that's what it'll do. I've seen it happen to loads of them in actual fact. And then he said, well, you know, they are just like Islamic State, aren't they? Are they? Where? When? Since when? Since when have nationalists remotely resembled anything to do with Islamic State, when in actual fact we've led the crusade, as it were, against Islamic fundamentalism, and I was doing it with the British National Party all over this country when Tommy was still at school, pretending to be a little gangster, innit, bruv? Okay, now you know where you stand with me, so don't start talking shit in my direction. Centre-right means you are a weakling. It means you woke up recently or a few years ago. Where were you the rest of the time? You were asleep, picking your nose, snorting coke, getting pissed, preparing to go to a football match, watching some garbage on TV, doing nothing whatsoever to save your country. And now suddenly at the 11th hour, it's, how could this have happened to us? Oh, in fact, it's not the 11th hour, it's 1 minute to midnight, as you're about to discover very, very soon. And I can tell you this about the centre-right, in the opening phase, they will get absolutely crushed. And I'll be just sat back with the popcorn laughing, because that's exactly what we intend to happen. It's all part of the strategy. Absolutely. Cannon fodder. That's all the centre-right are. Cannon fodder. To be used up and to expend as much as the enemy with them as possible. So now you know where you stand with this. And so his rant went along the lines of, well, Dilly Hussein and the Five Pillars, yeah, they had Nick Griffin on there. Nick Griffin, my goodness, the man who destroyed the British National Party, almost single-handedly. Yes, absolutely. The most toxic troll ever to emerge out of British nationalism. The vast majority of people in nationalism hate the man with a passion, okay? Christian fundamentalist. You know where I stand on Griffin. I've made this perfectly clear in other podcasts, have I not? Okay? And so anyway, according to Tommy and his little Jewish support mechanism, trigonometry, sat opposite the table, nodding approvingly, eyes adoringly gleaming at their little goy boy. He's performing exactly how we're paid him to. Yes, absolutely. Yes, our little puppet, good little boy. So yes, this makes Nick Griffin and Dilly Hussein part of a conspiracy. Now I can tell you for a fact, Nick Griffin has probably only 2% of the support that the British National Party once had. And by that I mean 2% of the people who were once involved with the British National Party still support Nick Griffin. That is not evidence of any conspiracy between the real far right innit Gavner and Islamic fundamentalists. I will never sit down at any table and talk to an Islamic fundamentalist, and I'm an ethno-nationalist. Got it? And that includes Dilly Hussein. I have nothing to discuss with him whatsoever. And the same applies to any other Abrahamist. You know my position on Abrahamism. It's a three-headed beast. Got it? I don't intend to apologise for what I tell you. I say it because I believe it to be true. And in some cases I know it to be true, and it's proved with hard evidence. Factual. Supporting evidence, that is. And so, factually speaking, Nick Griffin conducting an interview with Dilly Hussein proves just that. It was an interview. And so what? So what? So it's a sin, so to speak, is that, yeah, these Abrahamists love that concept of sin, don't they? That's another man-crafted piece of garbage to control humans. It has no effect on me because I'm sinless. I'm an Odinist. We have no sin. We're above and beyond sin. We live in a world of honour, not sin. Sin is for weaklings. Sin is for little sinners who need to be controlled. And so anyway, yes, this rantathon extended to, well, you know, it's good and wholesome for me to sit here with two Jewish Zionists talking this anti-white bilge and threatening nationalists with violence, which he's never carried out, and he's welcome to try it anytime he wants to. Can have a crack at me anytime he wants to. I'm not the 64-year-old guy in the train station, pissed as a fart, running his mouth off. Okay? Tommy only fights people he knows he can beat. And if you don't believe that, just look at the interview he did, yes, with Johnny Adair, and how he sat there with his eyes rooted to the floor throughout the entire interview because he was too afraid to look up and look at the real thing in the eyes, because Tommy's just a plastic gangster, innit, bruv? And Johnny Adair is the real thing. Okay? You don't like that one either. Has that got you triggered? Well, if it has, go and watch Trigonometry. And in fact, I'd advise you to watch Trigonometry because it is truly damning and revealing. And as I said, you know, the way the reasoning goes, cocaine reasoning, that is, well, yeah, it's good for us to sit here and talk with, you know, Jewish Zionists who've caused so much devastation throughout the Middle East since they set up that terrorist state, Israel, in 1948, with the illegal consent of the British, because the British had no legal consent to do anything of the sort. Okay? That is not an opinion, that is just fact. So, it's all good and well for little Robin Sob and the other gormless goy boys to sit down and have a rant about everyone else to maintain, Zionist hegemony. But anybody who sits down and has an interview with somebody who's an alleged Islamist, or even just a Muslim, that means they're in a grand conspiracy, which simply does not exist. It simply does not exist, because I can tell you for a fact now, Griffin's Christian Nationalist Party, if they believe for 1 minute that Nick Griffin was involved in a conspiracy, actively colluding and cooperating with the Islamists, believe me, that would be the end of it. He'd be out. And that's his pension pot gone. So Griffin's not going to do anything of the sort. And the fact that he had an interview with Dilly Hussein means it's just that. As I said, it's an interview. But no, in Tommy's cocaine-riddled world, his brain addled by cocaine, the Colombian marching powder, it means that Griffin and all nationalists, and Griffin does not speak for us, for the 98%, I absolutely guarantee you we despise the man. Okay? It does not mean there is any form of collusion whatsoever between nationalists and Islamists. It's just never going to happen. And talking of that, let's go back to Andrew Reid, one of the co-authors of The Art of the Unbelievable, which I renamed The Art of the Impossible. Sorry, The Unbelievable. Which is it? The Art of the Impossible or The Unbelievable? Well, you could argue that if it's co-written by a Zionist Jew, it's going to be implausible. I'll tell you that for a fact, because, you know, there's nearly always fiction when dealing with that lot. Nearly always. And the raft of false allegations he made against me there. And there's a familiar thread to it when dealing with these Zionist Jews. So I'm a nationalist, okay? And he smeared me without a scrap of evidence, and they fell down to their knees and ran away. yeah, when it came to the crunch legally. He accused me of supporting jihadist videos, defending them and promoting them online, and saying that in the interest of free speech, they should not be removed. I've never done anything of the sort. It's pure Jewish fiction, as usual, from the Jewish Zionist lie machine that Tommy Robinson works for. And I've challenged Andrew Reid, put it in writing, done so with Amazon, followed all the proper legal protocols, like thanking you in anticipation, Mr. Reid, if you ever fancy your chances. And of course, no evidence was supplied. And all the other false allegations as well fell down, because there is no substantiating evidence of any description. It's just another Jewish Zionist fairy tale. And when you pull them up on their fairy tales, of course, the next thing you hear is the narcissistic whining about the Holocaust. Oh, I lost this person and that person and the other. Oh, come on, get a grip. Get a grip. What about all the people who've been, the real Semites who've been slaughtered in the Middle East by the terrorist IDF? Okay? Oh, you probably think that means, oh, he's supporting Gaza and the Palestinians. No, I just support the truth. I support the truth. And I've always been in favour of a two-state solution, but of course that's never going to happen, is it? Because the United States is totally and utterly controlled by AIPAC. And little Tommy Robinson is the bitch of Elon Musk. Currently. Okay? Another Zionist stooge. Another one totally co-opted by Zionism after his visit to Israel. Why do they always have to go to Israel and do some wailing at the Wailing Wall? It must be such a thoroughly miserable, awful, depressing place that it just makes everybody cry. So we don't have this problem in Odinism and paganism, because ours is a happy faith. It's a happy, very, very happy spirituality. It gives us strength. It doesn't make us miserable. We have no wailing walls, and we don't tell people what they can and cannot believe, and if they don't believe it, they're going to burn in hell. Terror and tyranny. And these people think they're fighting against a tyranny. They're in the grip of a tyranny. So my advice to you is this: Tommy's revolution, there will never be a revolution of any description led by Tommy Robinson. And all this ranting about a civil war, as we said last night with that incurable little liar, British lander, who's been trying to post his lies all over my channel today and got the boot with his little troll factory. Okay? So the point I'm making is try and be honest. Stop lying, because that's all Tommy ever does. And in trigonometry, it's just littered with lies. And this revolution is the greatest lie of the lot, because Tommy will never be allowed to conduct any revolution that is not controlled by Zionism. That's because Tommy is just a little Zionist pet. Like his friend, Meha Tusi, Iranian, Persian. What's he doing living in this country, by the way? Who allowed him to come into this country? Did he come here in the Boris wave? You get the point I'm making? He is most definitely on the list for remigration. And that's another thing. Real migration is what nationalists support. We crafted the very concept of remigration, not the imitation game that is the centre-right. And if any centre-right trolls want to come on here and post their usual litany of garbage and abuse, be in no doubt whatsoever, you won't be doing it, because I'll just go mute, because I don't have any time to waste on mutants. Okay? If you don't like what I have to say, don't tune in, don't watch. It's of no concern to me whatsoever. I'm not going to build up a vast quantity of subscribers by singing the praises of Tommy Robinson and Zionists. Nor will I do it by singing the praises of Islamists. Actually, I'm equally opposed to both Islamists and Zionists, if you must know, because I'm a British ethno-nationalist, and the only thing I am interested in is Britain for the British. Perhaps Tommy Robinson could come and give me a good kicking for saying that. Bring about 10 of your men if you all come in, believe me, because you'll need them.